Gandalf never said he was sent by Eru, but the way he returned tells another story. When the Balrog dragged him into the abyss beneath Moria, Middle-earth believed its light had fallen into shadow. Yet days later, that same light rose again, brighter, purer, unstoppable. No Valar claimed credit, no Maya revealed the truth, and still Gandalf the Grey had become Gandalf the White. So who, or what, brought him back? Was it the power of the Valar, or the direct hand of Eru Ilúvatar, the one who created everything? Because if Tolkien's writings are right, Gandalf's return wasn't just magic, it was divine intervention. The mystery. When Gandalf fell into the depths of Moria, it wasn't just a battle, it was a sacrifice. As the Fellowship fled through the bridge of Khazad-dûm, their guide, their protector, their hope, vanished into flame and shadow. To the world above, Gandalf the Grey was gone. But deep within the mountain, time itself seemed to pause. In the Two Towers, Tolkien writes, "Darkness took me, and I strayed out of thought and time. Naked I was sent back, for a brief time, until my task is done." Sent back. By whom? Not Elrond, not the Valar, not even the other Maiar who walked among men. Because in the lore of Arda, even the Valar, the gods of Middle-earth, cannot return a spirit once it's left the circles of the world. Only one being can, Eru Ilúvatar, the One, the same Eru who began all things with a song, the same Eru who watches from beyond the stars, rarely speaking, but always knowing. So when Gandalf returned, he did not come back as the Grey Pilgrim. He came back as light itself, transformed, purified, as Gandalf the White, the living symbol of divine will moving again in Middle-earth. Even Galadriel saw it. He has returned, more dangerous than ever to the enemy. Yet none knew how, because no record, no prophecy, no song of the Valar ever spoke of such a return. That silence, that mystery, is what makes this story different. It wasn't the work of the Valar, it was something greater. Perhaps the voice behind the music itself had spoken once more. The revelation. In all the tales of Arda, there are only a handful of times when the one, Eru Ilúvatar, acts directly. He is not like the Valar, who shape mountains or calm the seas. Eru moves through silence, and yet when he moves, the very fabric of the world changes. When Númenor fell, it wasn't the Valar who sank the island, it was Eru. In a single act of divine wrath, he reshaped the world, bending the seas and placing Valinor beyond the reach of mortals forever. And before that, it was Eru who began the first music, the cosmic melody from which all creation flowed. Even Melkor, who became Morgoth, was only a discord in that divine song. And Gandalf, he too was part of that music, a note that refused to fade when darkness rose again. So when Gandalf fell, when his flame went out in Moria, something ancient stirred, the same voice that sang the world into being. Tolkien himself hints at this in his letters, that Gandalf was sent back by a direct act of God, and that alone. Not by the Valar, not by fate, but by Eru's mercy. And when Gandalf returned, he didn't come back as the same Maya. He came back as correction. Listen to his own words, "I am Saruman," as he should have been. In that single line lies the secret of divine intention. Eru's intervention not just to restore Gandalf, but to restore balance. The world had tilted toward chaos. Saruman had fallen to pride, Sauron to domination, and men to despair. So Eru chose a vessel, a single Maya, to carry his will into the heart of shadow, not to destroy it with power, but to illuminate it with purpose. Because Gandalf's resurrection wasn't about survival, it was about alignment, a divine harmony returning to the world's song. When he rose as Gandalf the White, Middle-earth didn't just gain a wizard, it gained a sign that the One still watches, still listens, and still intervenes when the song falters. Perhaps that's why Gandalf's power changed, why light followed him, why even Shadowfax bowed to his voice. He had become more than a servant of the Valar. He had become an echo of the One, the divine proof. There's a line, and often missed, that reveals everything. When Gandalf tells Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli of his return, he says, "Then darkness took me, and I strayed out of thought and time. Naked I was sent back, for a brief time, until my task is done." Sent back. That single phrase carries the weight of creation, because no Valar can return a soul once it leaves the circles of the world. Only one can, Eru Ilúvatar, and Tolkien confirms this in his letters, writing that Gandalf's resurrection was a direct act of Eru himself. It's the same divine voice that shaped the world with music, that broke Numenor in wrath, and that whispered into the void. Not yet, because Gandalf's death wasn't the end of his story. It was the proof of something greater, that the divine song still plays, and the one still listens. When he returned, Gandalf carried more than new robes and new power. He carried authority, the kind that commands kings, elves, and eagles alike, the kind that even Sauron's shadow could feel, but never understand. And look closely, his every act after that moment moves like music made flesh. He gathers the fellowship once more, rallies Rohan, crowns Gondor, and prepares the world for the age of men, just as the song intended. Every step he takes resonates with the will of Ilúvatar, as if the composer himself placed the staff in Gandalf's hand and said, "Play on." That's why his light burns brighter, why his words cut through darkness, why even death could not silence him. Because Gandalf was never just a wizard. He was Eru's echo, the final note of hope played in a world almost drowned by shadow. So when you see him standing upon the hill at dawn, light spilling across the fields of Pelennor, remember, this isn't just victory, it's creation, restored, the divine harmony reborn in mortal form. Perhaps Gandalf never said he was sent by Eru, because he didn't need to. Every step, every word, every flash of his white light was proof enough. The flame that fell in Moria was reignited by the hand that made the stars. And somewhere beyond the circles of the world, where silence meets eternity, the song still plays. Fly, you fools, straight to the subscribe button.